All right, so I think it's also worth mentioning here that Dean Malenko is going to become the WCW Cruiserweight Champion this month at Clash of the Champions. He's another second generation performer with his dad, Boris Malenko, being a legendary wrestler and trainer. Ted, Dean seems like a guy that you would love, like cut from the same cloth as you and very, very believable style in the ring.
Yeah, I love Dane. Even now, and I know he's had his healthy issues, and I pray for him, and hope that he's, as good as he can be. But, just, I hate to see something happen like what's happened to him, happen to a guy who had that much talent and capability. He did go on to be a producer. And, I had a conversation with him one time. I said, brother, I said, God bless you for doing what you're doing. I said, I couldn't do it.
Actually, this year as well, in 1997, Dean Malenko, incredibly, is going to be named the PWI 500 #1 wrestler in the world. Ted, when you would get rankings in Pro Wrestling Illustrated, did it ever mean anything to you? Like, was that something you took a lot of pride in?
No, like, sometimes they were pretty good, and sometimes it was like, if you're not in the business, you don't really know the business.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
So even when you got a high ranking, you were just like, yeah, it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's, it's kind of like if it's sports writer, that's, it's not, there's nobody in the business voting for that. This is not based on votes by wrestlers. Like, who would the wrestlers vote as the #1 guy?
That's a good question. Like, probably whoever drew the most money would be like the consensus among the wrestlers, right? Like, hey, this guy's the most successful wrestler because he brought the most money to the business.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
And again, like everybody's got a different style of wrestling, and it's kind of like, well, that's kind of like everybody said, well, Hulk Hogan wasn't really a great wrestler. Well, he was great because he understood his character. He understood, like he was he was not a normal sized guy. You know what I'm saying? He's a big guy. He's a big, a big guy. It was okay. Even better, Andre the Giant. Well, you're not going to see Andre the Giant out there doing arm drags and fireman's carry. It ain't going to happen. You got to understand where you fit and how your character fits into the whole scheme.
Andre was not like a Dean Malenko here. He wasn't going to be doing any of that stuff. However, he knew his role and he knew how to be his character better than probably anybody.
And again, to Andre's credit, Andre knew how to take somebody. I mean, there's nobody that he got in the ring with that was as big as him. So he always had to, I mean, obviously in the beginning, anybody that ever wrestled with Andre, the first thing that anybody has to put over is his strength. It's like you try to get a hold on him and he would just power out of it. And, you beat up on him and you try to turnbuckle him and he ain't going to go. He ain't going to go. He's going to pull you back and, give you a big chop and then send you sailing across the ring. It's all about knowing how to work within your character.
And man, you want to talk about the other end of the spectrum. Dean Malenko, I had the pleasure of being around him. I think it was last year, and I go 5'10", and I was bigger than him. He's not a big man, but yeah. he was just such a technical marvel out there. I mean, he kind of
that's it. And Dean knew that. He knew, and of course, again, here's a guy who came from a wrestling background, who understood, his role. If I'm going to be successful, then I'm going to have to impress people with the moves, and like you get the people to go, oh wow, did you see him do that? Wow, unbelievable.
He was too. I mean, some of the stuff that he would do with like Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. I mean, the names go on and on. He was fantastic.
DiBiase, obviously richer than the rest. Here's the champion. Here comes the set. It's the story of a legend.